You both have warned us, the American people, about the dangers of autocracy and what the signs are. And to my mind, that clip, that montage that we just showed between the CDC director and the president is yet another sign. And let me start with you. Just your reaction to that montage we played, and why should Americans care when the president of the United States is contradicting a health official?
We should care because it's a sign that somebody in a position of political power is no longer willing to defer to expertise, to appointed officials who are there to protect public health, and who is twisting the organs of government and using the power of government for his own political needs and not for the needs of Americans. In other words, he's putting on top of the concerns of American health and of the American economy, he's putting his own reelection. Any study of declines in democracy show that one of the first things that happens is that people begin to have doubt in institutions, they have doubts in bureaucracy, they have doubts in courts, they have doubts in the institutions of the state. And Trump, although he's the beneficiary of those doubts himself, it's one of the reasons why he won, he's also increased them and underlined them and expanded them since he's been president. And
another example of that is something that the New York Times reported with the headline, CDC testing guidance was published against scientists' objections. And a full quote here, controversial guidelines saying people without COVID-19 symptoms that didn't need to get tested for the virus came from HHS officials and skipped the CDC's scientific review process. That was a doc that came from the top down, from the HHS and the task force, said a federal official with knowledge of the matter, referring to the White House task force on the coronavirus. That policy does not reflect what many people at the CDC feel should be the policy. Just to amplify what you just said, and Masha, another thing that people should pay attention to is something that the Attorney General of the United States, Bill Barr, said. This is quoted in the New York Times. Barr told prosecutors to consider sedition charges to protest violence. Attorney General Bill Barr was also said to have asked prosecutors to explore whether to bring charges against the mayor of Seattle for allowing a police-free protest zone. Masha, please tell viewers why that is particularly concerning.
Well, traditionally in the United States of all places, protest has been seen as a legitimate part of the political conversation and an integral part of progress, right? When American children learn history, they learn the history of protest from the American Revolution to the Civil Rights Movement. To frame protest as somehow unpatriotic, as somehow being against the state, is a classic autocratic move. I mean, you could translate it into Russian directly, and it would sound perfectly credible coming from the mouth of Vladimir Putin.
And you, I believe it was the big piece that I read, I believe in the Atlantic, where you talked about autocracy being something that happens in small steps, imperceptible steps, and that by the time people realize that things have become autocratic, it is too late. Given what's happening in the United States, from your perspective, how far down the slope are we to becoming an autocratic state?
Well, I think, to be clear, it's never too late. You can always reverse these processes. The democratic spirit is something that's very powerful, and you can see it in even very deep autocracies, like in Belarus, as we're speaking right now. It's a country that's been run by one dictator. They're having protests in the street right now. But I think the U.S. has gone, and particularly parts of the political system have gone down the road that we've just been describing. In other words, criminalizing opposition, treating organs of the state and neutral institutions as party political bodies, politicizing bodies like the CDC. These really are all warning signs. And they are familiar to us from other places. If you look around the world at countries where democracy has declined, these are often the first steps. I think it's really important that Americans not be complacent, that they not say, well, because we've always had democracy, we'll always have it, and it will always function, and it's like water coming out of the tap, and we don't have to do anything about it. Civic engagement and civic involvement is always important, but it's particularly crucial now, as we can see some of these institutions kind of rotting before our eyes.
Hey, thanks for checking out our YouTube channel. Subscribe by clicking on that button down there for more AM Joy and the rest of MSNBC. And click on any of the videos right here to watch the latest interviews and highlights. And you can get more videos from MSNBC for free every day with our newsletters. Just visit msnbc.com/newsletters to sign up now.